All right, hey there, dynamic cyclists and runners. Corey Chris coming to you from the office. We just kicked off the distance challenge. If you're not on that, I highly recommend jump on that. There's also some training plans to support it, but that brings us to the topic for today, which is zone 2 training. Training in the lower aerobic zone or going slow. This is probably the hardest thing that I ask my athletes to do on a very frequent basis. And if you're a new runner, this becomes even more painful because you already feel like you're running slow. So to be asked to run slower, well, it seems counterintuitive. But there are very specific physiological adaptations that occur while you're running in the easier intensity zones. So a couple things, you're gonna stress the slow twitch type 1 oxidative muscle fibers more. You are going to build more capillaries. You are going to increase the number and size of mitochondria. That's where energy is produced within inside the cell. You are going to increase the amount of oxidative enzymes. You're going to increase muscle myoglobin. So all things and many more adaptations that occur working at the easy intensity zone. And again, incredibly important, especially when you want to increase volume or total duration. And again, in the distance challenge, that is going to be a heavy focus. Really, training stress, as you remember, have two variables, time and intensity. And if we take away intensity, hopefully you can put in more time. So, big question, how do I know whether I am in zone 2 or not? Well, one, it should feel super easy. So using RPE, which is rate of perceived exertion, it should be about a 3 or 4 out of 10. You should be able to go out and have an easy, comfortable conversation while you're running and not feel like your breathing is labored at all. Now you can also get a little more sophisticated, and if you do some field tests and you know where your zones are for pace and heart rate, you can use those metrics as well to determine, again, whether you are in zone 2 or not. And I'll show you over in Training Peaks how that all looks when you're getting set up for a workout and what it should look like after a workout to ensure, again, you nailed the intensity zone. So let's flip around and have a look at that. Okay, so let's have a quick look. I'm going to look at a zone 2 run. Now, obviously, cycling and running are going to look a little bit different, but the concepts are going to apply the exact same way. So when you open up a workout and you click on any of the blue parts that make up the workout builder, it's going to open up this screen. And when you hover over the workout, it's going to show you how the workout is prescribed. So right now, as you can see, this one is prescribed in the most simplistic way possible, which is based on RPE, rate of perceived exertion, how hard you feel yourself working, or more importantly, in this sense, not working. Now, if I wanted to flip that to pace and have it shoot to my watch and just tell me exactly what pace to run at for how long, I could come up here and flip it to percent threshold pace, and I'm ready to go. Now, pace does have a few variables that impacts its validity, which if you're running terrain that's up and down, so a lot of variable terrain, a lot of hills, that is going to throw your pace off and might not be the best to train exactly just by pace. In that case, you're going uphill, you might want to revert back to RPE and how hard you feel yourself working. Now, that being said, if you have heart rate, you could go off of percent threshold heart rate. Could use maximum heart rate. I just don't do many field tests using maximum heart rate. So highly recommend if you've done threshold heart rate tests or field tests where you're taking heart rate data, you can use that one. And then of course, if you start going uphill and your heart rate's starting to spike, you can look at that indicator and go, oh boy, I'm out of zone 2 heart rate. I need to ease the intensity back down. Maybe I need to walk this hill, and that way I'm maintaining the correct zone. So really important, you can use all the zones to your advantage to make sure that you are nailing the intensity properly. When all else fails, good old RPE. Now, that being said, the gold standard for cycling and now running, because they have little power pods, I just ruined it, it's power. So that takes away a lot of the variables in terms of terrain, for heart rate. It takes away, whether you're stressed, caffeinated, hydrated, temperature, etc., etc., etc. So when in doubt, power, RPE, perfect. So that is a couple ways that you can play with executing the workout. Now, analyzing the workout, when you do open it up, and right now I can only see heart rate. I'm going to show everything. I was only tracking my cadence, so my foot strikes per minute, which, again, is a good correlator to see how that impacts pace and heart rate, but I'm not going to talk about that today. I want to talk about heart rate and pace, and just to smooth these out a little bit, if I want to see what zones I'm in, I can come over here, click on the pace button and show zones. And as you can see, I'm in zone 1 for the first one. I get up into zone 2 a little bit. I'm really operating at the very top of zone 1, if not dabbling into zone 2 in terms of pace. So really easy run for me that day, but of course I knew it was a 2.5 hour run, so kept her down. Now, heart rate is interesting. If I click over here and show zones for heart rate, you can see I'm, in recovery to start, dip up into zone 2, then I'm back for my walking segment. Then I dip up, go actually through zone 2 into zone 3, back down, then way up into zone 3. And as you can see, as I progress along the run, I'm actually up into zone 4 threshold, where I didn't actually increase my intensity whatsoever. So again, really good idea to have context about what was happening during that run. I do recall that this was getting progressively hotter as I went. And of course, as I become more and more fatigued and the body has to work harder to sustain the same pace, you're going to see the heart rate drifting up as well. So really good to understand, again, the context, use as many metrics as possible so that you can nail the intensity zones. And again, when all else fails, spend the money, get power, or bring a friend and have a great conversation. So that is it for today. Happy slow running. Zone 2, incredibly important. Till next time, see you later.